The gentleman organizing our speakers for this year, Eric, who has done a tremendous job, and he's continuing on that trend. Georgette lives in Conway. She's here again with her son Chris this afternoon. She served our country in the United States Marine Corps from 44, as Phil mentioned, to 46 as an aircraft mechanic. So I know she's going to have a wonderful story to tell, and I want us all to please give our thanks to you for your service and a warm welcome. Thank you, Georgette. Welcome.
I'm glad to see there's another octogenarian here. I do have a slight cold, so I'm a little croaky, but I apologize for that. Well, I'd like to tell you that one of the reasons that I joined the Marine Corps was patriotic, you know, free a man to fight and all that bit, but it was mostly out of boredom. I came from a small city in New Hampshire, and though I was living in Boston at the time that I joined, life was getting a little routine. I had never been outside of New England, and I thought this would be a great opportunity for me to get to see parts of the country and also relieve the boredom. So the requirements at that time for a women reserve, you had to be 5 feet tall, and I just skimmed by that one. The weight of 90 pounds, had no trouble with that. 20 to 35 years old, you had to be white. Our country was not integrated in the 40s. Had to be educated and healthy. So I guess I passed them all. Before I left for boot camp, my mother got a letter from the head of the Women's Reserve assuring her that her daughter would have a nice warm barracks to sleep in, good healthy food, and that they would take very good care of her. I was 21 years old at the time. I'd been away from home for 4 years, but I think it made Mom feel better. Boot camp was at Camp Lejeune, North Carolina. We got off the bus and were immediately told to march to our quarters. I was very impressed with the our barracks. They were red brick buildings with white trim. They were set in a pine grove. It looked like a college campus, except for the signs that were posted all over the place. Out of bounds, restricted area, women's reserve only. They weren't taking any chances on us. We met our platoon leader that we nicknamed Mother Superior because she was the one that we reported to for the next 6 weeks, and she kept us in line. We were supposed to have boot training equal to the men, but that just didn't work out. I think we did it in moderation. The DI's colorful language and physical demands were watered down quite a bit. There was no comparison with what women have to go through today, where they go on bivouac for 48 hours and learn to learn arms and things like that. We had nothing like that because the Marines never sent the women overseas. There were just a few lucky ones who ended up in Hawaii, but I wasn't one of them. One of the first places we were marched to was the uniform store, where we were measured for everything from our hats to our shoes. And then they handed us our girdles and told us we were to wear them at all times underneath our uniforms. think the most important thing I learned at boot camp was we were taught to help each other. That was very important. One person's black mark could cause the whole platoon to lose its privileges. So when you saw someone struggling, you went to their aid right away to lend a hand. This they found very helpful in the training of men for battle, and it worked with the women too. It established a kind of a camaraderie, esprit de corps, semper fi. We finally graduated from boot camp, and we're no longer called goons, but Marine Corps privates. We did expect, once we left the boot camp, that we would go in some Marine Corps base where we would be telephone operators or file clerks or typists, but that didn't happen. We were sent to Aviation Machinist School in Norman, Oklahoma. Norman was a naval base. There were sailors everywhere. Our barracks were still segregated. In fact, if something came up like a plumbing problem or electrical problem, and a man stepped over the threshold, there was a call of man aboard, and all these scanty-clad gals ran for cover. We were allowed to date finally. Before the boot camp, you know, we couldn't even talk to a man. That was forbidden. But now we're allowed to date. We were allowed to go out of the area, and so things were looking up a bit. Our Corps instructors, they would much have preferred sea duty, I think, than teaching these women anything about mechanics. They were used to men who knew the terminology, knew machinery, who probably worked on their cars, and so forth. And to get women who didn't know a carburetor from a piston was pretty hard going for them, I think. But they were good sports. Some women were actually in their element, and they did very well, but most of them were like myself, whose parents never even had a car, so knew nothing. I remember one incident when the instructor took us individually up into the cockpit of an F-4F and very carefully explained what every button and switch controlled what part of the plane. He said, "Any questions?" "Oh yes, what's that funnel light shaped thing that's right by the pilot's seat?" And then he looked very disgusted and said, "That's the pilot's relief valve." But anyways, we graduated. I was next assigned to El Toro, California, and that was what a dream assignment. To leave very snowy, windswept Oklahoma in January and hit sunny California was just wonderful. The war was winding down a bit, and I think they were a little dubious what to do with all of us. They did have us in the hangar part of the day doing assembly jobs, little putting things together or replacing little items, but nothing too drastic. And there was a lot of KP. I still have visions of myself staring down at a 20-gallon container of Brussels sprouts, which I was told to peel and have ready for the next meal. Then came VE Day, a great cause for celebration, of course, and just so great that part of it was over at least. It was kind of sad because FDR had just died less than a month before, and he had had so much to do with us, and to think he wasn't there at the end was kind of sad. But on the Pacific coast,